Hello again. In this session we will talk about ethical, privacy issues and security issues related to the information systems. It turns out that all three aspects are very interrelated. So let me start with the ethical issues related to information systems. The first thing, of course, that comes into our mind when we hear the word ethics is its definition. What is actually the definition of ethics? What is ethical? And you can have your own definition, and there is a general accepted definition for ethics, which is doing the right thing, doing the good things. Okay, but the word right and the word good by itself is subjective, meaning that in different cultures, in different nations, according to different laws, good means different to different people. Okay, and doing the right thing to me may not seem very right to you. So that makes this whole concept of ethics by itself very subjective in nature, which makes it more difficult to deal with. Okay, so when it comes also to information systems, the usage of the technology and what we do with the technology and all this information system within the corporations brings the whole question of the ethics. I mean, some companies do things with their information systems that may not seem at first glance very ethical, and the examples that we will discuss during the sessions, of course. So in that sense, it's an interesting pursuit to learn about more ethical issues related to the information systems. Due to its very subjective nature, as I just explained, so it does not make much sense to think in a broad sense of ethics. That's why a lot of companies they just define their ethical framework within their own boundary, meaning that something that is ethical to one company may not be again ethical to, or not seem very ethical to other companies. So the ethics framework within the corporation is just limited to their boundaries, and they enforce it, if they enforce it, within their own perimeters and not outside. Also, it's very important to distinguish between being ethical and being illegal. These are not the same thing, of course. People cannot be prosecuted for being unethical, but they can go to jail for being or doing illegal things. And we have examples. For example, in recent time, we have seen that this inside trader with the Societe Generale, which was one of the Paris-based banks, had misused the information system to make a $7 billion rogue trade, which made the bank made a lot of loss on that. So this was clearly an unethical behavior of this person, but the person was not, from a legal standpoint, was not prosecuted. I mean, he did not go to jail, at least to my best knowledge. So it's very important to distinguish between the legal terms and the ethical terms. So depending on your observation, you also can see that a lot of companies, they have this even written statements and training for their employees what constitutes ethical behavior, and also the usage of information technology. But when it comes to enforcing it, is not as easy as you might think. Different people, depending on what rank you have within the corporation, you may or you may not face the consequences for the unethical behavior. So that essentially brings a very whole interesting issue of dealing with unethical behavior of the employees by using or misusing and abusing the technology within the firm. And this is really a management issue, something that managers have to deal with and think about it very carefully. Okay, and we will discuss this in more detail. The second issue is, of course, the security. The corporate espionage is a very big business. lot of these firms, they have to protect one of their most valuable assets, which is their corporate data. And there are technologies to fend off these intruders and the hackers. So the technology is available, and these technologies really function very well. To a great extent, of course, every now and then we hear that a company's database has been hacked, or the intruders have been get into it and stole the company's data, but that's not very common. So the technology is really there to protect the companies against the outside intruders and hackers. But what companies are more vulnerable to is just the enemy inside. Okay, the firm's employee themselves that may show some hostile attitude, and they internally, because they have access, they start stealing or compromising the corporate data, and bring a substantial damage to corporate image and bring a lot of financial damage as well. So that's certainly something that companies and especially the management needs to think about and be aware of this. What they can do is, again, varies from company to company, varies from industry to industry, how sensitive the data is. The other issue that is very related to usage of the information system within the companies, it's the privacy and the consumer rights. Selling the consumer data is really a big business, and a lot of companies, they sell their customers' data to outside parties and third parties, and they make a lot of money out of it. So it's just a source of income, and a lot of companies welcome that. But again, in some countries there are laws to protect the consumer data, and in some other countries this protection is lax, and even in some countries it's not there. And that by itself brings some issues that are also related to ethical. One example is just the usage of RFID chips, which are very small micro devices that send the wireless signal, and some of the retailers have started using these RFID devices within their products. It makes a lot of sense in terms of inventory control and the sales, gathering the correct and accurate sales data and things. So it brings a lot of benefit for the companies. But one of the big disadvantages of these RFIDs are that once the consumers just buy these products, they cannot remove these RFIDs, and then these companies, they can just trace these employee consumers, and they can just track or trace for how long and which customer has for how long used a particular product, and that's invaluable data by itself to study the consumer behavior, to just plan as how long the consumers just use certain products. So these are all privacy issues that the information system enables companies to do that, and privacy violation issues. And these are something definitely are interesting to discuss, and that's what we will do. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and learning from your experiences. Thank you.